What's going on in the world today? What's happening? What is happening? What's going on? I know sometimes I got it dark in here, but that's when I am in the room watching video content. I'm no longer going to be showing you guys video content because YouTube is trying to play your boy. They sure were fine with the 1.25 million views that I got them in a month, but apparently there was too much reused content. So I'm going to be I've started to remove several of my videos, the live feed videos anyways. And from now on, I'm not going to be showing the actual content in my videos. But aside from that, what I am about to do for this particular one is to just play the piece of relevant footage. I'm going to turn the volume up so y'all will be able to hear it. I'm probably going to play about 2 minutes, 2 to 3 minutes of it because it's the relevant portion. I think it's called Reality Kingdom. I know none of those pages shout out my page, and I know several of them have seen my page. I'm actually in personal contact with a few prominent Big Brother pages that I've shouted out their pages, and they've never shouted out mine, but I'm not a hater. So I will continue to shout out those pages regardless. Reality Kingdom. Do I think it was the best interview? Not necessarily, just because I'm a fan of unbiased interviews for the most part. It is crazy, no shout outs. I have not heard one channel shout me out. I've had a couple of channels shout me out, as in come on my page and shout me out on my page. Nick Shorts and Retro. Those are two pages that have actually been in contact with me. Okay, so we have 20 people in here. That's enough. I usually wait till about 20 to 30 at least. So you've heard one shout out. Who is that from, Sheena? Let me know so that I can reciprocate. If you've heard a shout out, let me know so I can reciprocate that person. Okay. Anyways, while I'm waiting to hear that response, I'm actually going to play. I don't know who Jolene is, but shout out to Jolene. I will find that page and I will try to check it out. So, I'm going to play the clip. You're not going to see it, but you are hopefully going to be able to hear it. I'm turning up the volume. Okay?
All right, Monty, a black man, some might say. And he said a lot of things that were very harmful, I feel, to not just you as a black woman, but to black women in general. Like, let's just be honest. And I feel like those things shouldn't be hard for a grown-ass man to understand coming out of the house. So has that apology been given, considering he's a grown-ass man coming out of the house?
Oh, yeah, okay, so I love the shade. I love the shade, too. Some might say, but I think we need to stand up and really saying, this is a black man who said these things about me. Mm-hmm. And unfortunately, it is not uncommon that I can't paint all black men in this light. It's not fair. Mm-hmm. But it's not uncommon for black men to degrade black women when it gives them more access to power. I have a frustrating relationship with Monty right now because he is someone that I built a friendship with over the course of the game.
Can y'all hear this? Can y'all hear this? Let me know if y'all can hear this before I continue playing it. Let me know if y'all can hear this. Yes, okay.
And I was okay with deading the conflict that we had in the beginning of the game because as of the formation of the leftovers, almost through the end of the game, we built a really great friendship. So I believed. But now to understand that the comments were not, oh, I was lied to, so Taylor's live Sky got out of the game. It was, Taylor lied to me. She's not a good representation of Black people. She's embarrassed of a Black woman, however he phrased it.
So just to give you guys a little bit of just to give you guys a little bit of context of what she's saying. In the house, he basically apologized for going off the deep end. Yes, hit the like button, please. And hi, Shy, by the way, great to see you. She basically said in the house, he apologized for the portions that were surface level. Basically about how when Paloma went and spoke to Taylor about how she wanted to knock off the guys, and then Taylor went to go tell Monty, and then Monty spread around the house that Taylor was lying. He was only admitting to that portion. He was only admitting to believing that Taylor was lying about what she was saying, and that was the only part. So she said based on that within the house, she forgave him, and then she built up this friendship on that foundation of thinking that that was the main thing that he said. But then going back through the footage and seeing the disparaging comments that he made about her as a Black woman, that's when she was like, oh shoot, and he said a lot more than what I thought he said. But then she didn't say that she's just not going to accept his apology, but she said that so much time has gone by. And I think that she's probably listened to or watched at least portions of several of his interviews. And his interview mantra, I'm not watching this for my mental health. I just watched an interview where he said, I spoke to Taylor. He said, I don't get many opportunities to speak to her, but when I did speak to her this one time that we spoke for like 10 to 15 minutes, I told her, I haven't watched the footage, but if there's anything that you saw on there, you heard that offended you, I'm sorry for that. And we've all gotten those kind of apologies before, or at least I know I have. And that's why I was not necessarily mad at Kat putting him to the flame, where he was trying to give his typical, I didn't see, but if I said something that came across this way, then I'm sorry for that. But he's not directly saying, I said this was wrong. It's something that I need to work on. He was not directly saying that. So that's why she was like, well, I brought this just in case you said that you didn't see this. Here's the receipt, and plays the video. So anyways, let me read these couple comments and play a little bit more. When is there time for it? Not in the house, so I don't know how many opportunities he's had to do so. Okay, Danielle. So I don't think it's based on the opportunities he's had in the house that she's upset about. I honestly believe, even though she did not say this directly, she's watched several of his interviews. I don't think she's only holding him accountable for their personal conversations that they've had thus far. I think she's been listening to what he said in several interviews, and that has been bothering her. And then it's also like they didn't have a lot of conversations, but he needs to have a conversation where he's willing to look at what he did, because he said he's not doing that for his mental health. I get it. I get somebody protecting their mental health. I have a mental health channel, right? I have my own mental health issues. But yeah, he said he's not apologizing publicly. And she said that she would be willing to accept his private apology if it had come earlier. Now she feels like at this point of allowing fans, interviews, public pressure to go by, now she feels like if she were to get an apology a month later, 2 months later, 6 months later, she would now be feeling in her mind that it was more because of the influences of what they want that apology for. The fans who are holding him to the flame, and not just him, because this is also, she said this about Paloma and Daniel. She said Monty, Paloma, and Daniel. That's why I had that in my title. I was just watching a Kamisha Reviews live interview with her about 20 minutes ago or so, and she mentioned those three. All right, so let's get to this. I'm going to read these and then I'm going to play a couple more minutes. 2 weeks. Monty has only apologized for what he knew that she knew. Lynn, talk about it, man. Like I can give. I don't like to drop too many personal situations in here, but I know of a situation like that. She expressed the bathtub convo was upsetting, the gaslighting. Yeah, I'm about to play a little more of this. I think he deserves the right to take the time to watch everything he said. So, Danielle, he didn't say he was going to do that, though. That's the whole thing. I think I remember some early conversations where he said he was going to review the footage, but the most recent conversations, he's like, nah, I've heard that Twitter is toxic and I've heard that all of this stuff is toxic. So for my mental health, I'm not going to do it. I'm going to play it so you can hear it for yourself. I'm not even going to try to convince anyone. I'm going to play the video. And I know you saw it, so that's just your take on it, but some people have not. I'm glad she finally seen his true character. We got 50 people in here. Shout out to y'all. 13 likes though. Come on now. Monty's comments hurt my feelings. Why do you think Monty and Terrence always used Taylor's race when putting her down? I'm gonna play some more of this video once I get to the bottom of these comments. It is not good that he is discouraged from watching. I agree. Now here's the thing. If he said, I'm not going to watch the videos in Todrick's mansion with the rest of the roommates. I'm going to watch it with my friends and family and decompress with a therapist. I'm all for that. But to be like, I'm just going to avoid it, that's the part that I'm like, how can you grow from it? It is not, I agree, Danielle, I think. Everyone moves on their own time, and some don't move at all. Some don't move at all. But not Terrence. I don't have Paramount Plus, so I didn't see that side of Monty. You missed a lot. Oh, they could all benefit from counseling, especially, well, I won't say especially him. I'll just say he can benefit from it. I don't want to say that he needs it more than others. I think he should watch something like that with people. That's what I was saying, Danielle. That's exactly what I was saying. I'm not mad at him not watching it in Todrick's mansion with other people from the house around. Those three don't care to apologize, in my opinion. Yeah, I have felt like the types of answers, especially that Monty has given, have been more for his image than anything else. Why does he have to think about what he said or did or rewatch? He knows what the F he said and did. Miss you with that mess, Danielle. Right, Mark? I'm the only one that look at his responses as yeah, I don't necessarily agree with the amount of interviews that I've seen. Taylor's right. Don't accept my apologies from those three toxics at this point. Okay, so now let me play a little bit more.
And giving someone else, a white casting man, power over me, taking away my agency and using the authority of his blackness as a black man to do that over me. That is infuriating. The way that he gaslit me when we were in the bathtub over a discussion that involved his goddaughter and I don't know. Whose headphones were they? I'm just curious. Oh, okay. He used these moments to make it personal. And so the apology for where we are, the circumstances of where we are, he hasn't owned up to the real pain that he caused me. He hasn't owned up to the way that he was intentionally trying to cause me pain. And I hate to say it out loud, but unfortunately, I don't think that there is space for us to have a friendship outside of this, because I gave him the chances and the opportunity to be my friend. Mm-hmm. And at every turn, he fell back into degrading Black women, degrading me, harming women when he gaslit me in that bathtub scene. There are so many moments where he had an opportunity to scoot his ego for the sake of a strong friendship, scoot his ego for the sake of being a better representation of what it means to be the type of person that he is. For all that he is, being Black and Puerto Rican, he had a really beautiful opportunity to represent all of those things in a beautiful way. And unfortunately, I think he dropped the ball there. So that apology, full-fledged, considering everything that I now know about the game, it has not happened. And even when it happens, I just hope it happens because he's now understanding the pain that he caused, and I deserve the apology, but I will forgive, but I do not forget.
Okay, so let me see if there's any comments here. I don't think Monty needs more time. I'm telling you. I don't think he apologized about the lies he spread or the negative things he said about her. Even the apologies about the lies that he spread, the way that he said it, I was misinformed. Unfortunately, this was somebody that I had built trust and rapport with, and this was the first time that I talked game with Taylor, so obviously I'm going to go off of the person that I have rapport with. It's like a deflective way to apologize. It's like, I apologize for believing Paloma, but it's Paloma's fault. And that's what I have gotten from several of them. But I think that the reason why she was willing to forgive Amira and Nicole and some of the others that she was talking about that had personal conversations with her were probably because they actually reflected. Granted, I will say, yes, they had more time because they were out earlier. But I think that they actually reflected and were like, you know what? Paloma has a fault and I have a fault. My fault is separate from Paloma's fault. All right. Am I missing some comments? I believe I am. I don't think he included when he lied to Paloma about what he said and caused her to be out with the girls. He did it in his way, Keena. He didn't do it directly. He alluded to it. That's his way. It's the intentional factor at that. Yeah, that's what she was talking about in this interview. By the way, thank you, Charmed Life. I said that on my community post, but not everyone sees those. Thank you, Charmed Life. Charmed Life puts me up on most of these interviews because I just log on and I'll make a little post and she's like, have you seen this? Here's the link. So I appreciate that. That keeps me plugged in. He's actively avoiding accountability, and that's cowardice. Even Turner responded to the backlash in spaces, and he wasn't as bad as others. Yeah. Good for Taylor. I'm glad she realizes she's worth more than he is giving, for sure. So, from what it sounds like, so I'm going to say a couple of things. I know there's only a few people saying this, but you can't make somebody accept an apology, okay? You can't tell somebody how they're supposed to feel and how they're going to deal with the aftermath. Somebody has a right to be like, I don't like how you handled this. I don't like how you treated me. And I don't like what you're saying now. And like, we could be cordial, but I don't want you in my life. People have a right to do that. And it kind of seems like at this point in time, that's what she's saying here. Not that the door is closed. She has a right to say that way and feel that way. And it seems like there was kind of an avalanche of things against him based on the things that she discovered were said in the house. So because of it being such disparaging stuff about Black women that really hurt her, I felt like so there's two sides of this coin. Some of y'all are like, he has a right to have time to process. Now, have you guys ever been in a situation where somebody has wronged you and you are willing to accept their apology, right? It's time sensitive. It might not be time sensitive for Monty. Monty could say, I'm going to take a year, 2 years to process this, and then I'm going to revisit this in 2 years with Taylor, and then I can be able to give her a full and complete apology. Her timeline might have been like, right now we're in Todrick's house. Right now we're all together when otherwise I would be far, far away from you. So make the time, grab me, be like, you're so important to me that I need to address at least these parts right now, or as soon as you give me the space to do so, to clear this air, and not necessarily even to just get rid of the problem right away, but to at least be able to start the path to healing. And I feel like as time goes by and she listens to the different things that he's saying in these interviews where he's ducking and dodging, she's like, I don't know if I want that anymore. I don't know if I want that anymore. Let me get to y'all comments. No problem. Been a slow week at work. You know what? I spent a 2 to 3 week span where I spent probably an equal amount of time on the live feeds as I did at work. So I feel you. Thanks, Gail. Like, I don't see his answers as trying to be. I do. I don't. So here's the thing, Gail. You said you don't see his answers as trying to be unaccountable. I don't either. I think he's not self aware. I don't see it as he just wants to talk to Taylor. I see it that he has a extreme lack of self awareness, and that probably comes from situations that he's been able to get away with in his personal life, where maybe he even did or said some of the same things, and those women did not respond the same way as Taylor. They probably responded more favorably. He was able to get himself out of those situations easier. Even though the Big Brother house is a unique situation, I also feel like a lot of things are a microcosm of their real life. And that's not to say they're walking around like this 24/7. But I think that the people who have been in the house have talked about Big Brother bringing out the worst of them. So it's not that they're always like that, but it could also mean some parts of them are like that. And being in an environment that stresses them and sparks up their anxiety or whatever, puts certain types of people in their face, they act accordingly to how they would act in those scenarios. I'm so glad she's a strong woman and didn't let that get to her, because she knows her worth and she found out what type of game he was playing. Yeah, I'm glad that she didn't hold on to anything that he said like that and like personalize it and use it to down her self-esteem, because she could have. It feels worse. She said it herself, I think, in this interview, that it feels worse coming from a Monty or a Terrence than it feels coming from like a Kyle. And I totally get what she's saying with that. Like, you kind of expect those comments from other people that are not experienced with, the black experience. Yes, Jazzy. I don't care if he had rapport with her. It was so early. Like, come on. Why did he see it as a mission? And he went all over the house. It's not like a Turner was somebody who, if information came out, go with the flow, mega bussin', like, it's go with the flow. No, when Monty got some information that he thought was something that was foul or whatever, he's going around everywhere and he's adding in spice to what he's saying. I'm so confused. You see how you think you can just drop Monty? Drop Monty? Explain, because I'm not going to respond until you give me an explanation of dropping Monty. I was explaining that she's allowed to drop Monty. I can't drop someone who's not a part of my life. Transparency will rule the day. It was consensual, meaning that more than one party agree. It's not, we're not talking about the sex. I don't know if you just got on here, but that's not what we haven't even, you're the first person who mentioned that as far as I can see. It's definitely disappointing seeing the way he has publicly responded in regards to his actions. I in no way am defining him. I guess that should be defending him or his behavior, right? Oh my God. Monty is trying to not look bad in public. That's the way that I view it. And I've seen so many interviews to be able to say that. In doing that, he's making see this as charmed life. This is what I was saying in the comments about the Cat interview. I was like, Cat would not have had the power to do what she was doing with the receipts and all that stuff if he had just been like, I'm owning up to this. Giving his typical answer of, well, I didn't really see it, but if I have the opportunity to watch it in the future, and he also said, I plan to. I reached out to Taylor and I talked to Taylor, and
But I will forgive, but I do not forget.
sorry,
Period.
Yeah.
I mean,
yeah, it's like I reached out to Taylor and I talked to Taylor, and I told her I haven't seen all the footage, but if I said anything that was like offensive or bothersome to you or whatever, then I apologize. And I've gotten that type of apology before. I'm sorry for anything that I might have done or said to offend you. And it's like, but there's specific situations I'm willing to forgive. If you lay it out on the table, I'm sorry for saying this. I'm sorry for saying that you're a misrepresentation to black women. Even if he has not viewed it, which I don't believe at this stage, because even if he didn't actually look at it, I know that people have quoted that to him so many times in interviews that even if he didn't look at himself saying it verbally, he's at the very least heard and seen quotes of what he said. So the whole if I said it, that doesn't fly so much with me. Okay, I know there's a lot of comments in here. I'm trying to make sure to get to the last ones. He already has hate, so I don't know if he cares about public. He does. And he said he's trying to protect his mental health from toxic Twitter and all that. And toxic Twitter is a real thing. I don't care about toxic Twitter, and I don't care about the public apology. What Taylor just said right here, which I played, was that she wanted a private apology from him. Public, she wants that too, but she wanted a private apology from him where he took accountability for the things he said to her. That's not us. That's not what we're viewing or anything like that. So if his relationship with her is important to him, which he has said in multiple interviews, he said, I don't care about y'all fans. I just care about my relationship with Taylor because I care about her. So why would you want the thing to sit on ice indefinitely? I wouldn't. Okay. I honestly believe he has been in shock how loved Taylor is. I think so too, Christy B. His ego is having a hard time receiving this feedback. I agree. Listen. I'm not trying. I know some people in these comments are thinking that I'm trying to say he's gonna process this thing in a week or two in Todrick's house. No. All I'm saying is just an acknowledgement of what was said. He could even have told her, we're gonna have to revisit this conversation, after LA, after we leave the group, after I've had time to fully review the footage. This is where I'm at right now. I know I was wrong, but I need some more time to process this. It will take time. I agree. I definitely agree with you, Christy B. I definitely agree with you. She's not gonna forgive that because she feels betrayed. Yeah, like she was willing to forgive when she thought it was just the headphone stuff and the goddaughter stuff, and even just him wanting her out of the house the first week and believing Paloma, I think that she was willing to forgive all that. But then the part that she's really talking about here is the part about him making those comments about her as a black woman. That's the part that seems to be burning her the most. It's so crazy how the audience was able to see through his manipulation and misogyny in real time via the feeds. Oh, and I think also Charm Life, you probably saw it, but I didn't see it. She referenced it. That deep dive, the 6 hour deep dive that she did with, I don't know, was it Rob Has a Podcast? I think that also was like an eye opening thing for her. If I was Taylor, I would just forget the rest of the cast other than Joseph. Yeah, it's hard for her. Like she's in a tough position, but I get what you're saying there. 1,000%. 1,000%, I get it. Hit the like button, by the way, guys. If you just got in here, or if you've been in here, hit the like button. Taylor most definitely has the right to decide who she wants to allow and why into her life. As far as Monty, he should take the time to grow. Well, he's putting himself in a position where it's unlikely for her to have a friendship with him. I will never say never because I've seen things change after 5 years, 10 years, 20 years, 30 years. But here's something I have to say about life, especially with the things that are going on in my life at this time. You don't know, time is a luxury. I could be posting on this channel today and not here tomorrow. And any of you in these comments, the same thing. We don't always get more time to make amends with people. So I don't always believe that time is something that you should be like, I assume that I'm going to have the time later. You never know what can happen. Most times black women support black men unconditionally. I will give you sometimes, Sonia. I'll give you sometimes. I will give you sometimes. I might even say more black women support black men unconditionally than the other way around. I just will not say most. I can't say that. Seems like Monty is the kind of person who would rather forget his wrongs, and that's what Kat was holding him to the flame for, and pretend he did nothing, as opposed to accepting his behavior was wrong and making amends. Taylor apologized to Monty only for the part about trying to get her out of the house. She didn't know the comments that he made about her as a black woman. That was new information to her when she came out of the house. So I don't know if he just thought that that was too big of a thing that he wanted to mention to her, or if he just thought that part wasn't really wrong and just falls under the whole umbrella of believing that Paloma said that he's a bad person. But he did not apologize for the part that she's talking about right now. Where are we at here? Oh, you guys do a lot of comments in here. Hit the like button while I'm getting to these comments. He apologized for... thank you, Charm Life. He apologized for believing Paloma, then spent the last 2 weeks gaslighting and verbally attacking her to her face and behind her back. I believe toxic Twitter is real. That's why I'm not into Twitter. I agree with you. Have a great day. Thanks for hopping on, Shy. Thanks for hopping on. Hello, Mark in chat. Mind replaying Taylor's response. You know what? I don't mind replaying Taylor's response. I'm going to start it again for those. Apologies for those who have seen it already, but I'm going to replay that little bit. It was only about 3 minutes. Sucks for lack of accountability, but in corporate, it is quite common for situations involving people with a hierarchical relation to end like this. The one higher up gets the stick. I think that he's being stubborn, and he most definitely should have and could have done more to right what he has done with her. He should have been accountable for his actions, and he missed. Okay, so I'm gonna play this again for those who didn't hear this. Okay.
Harmful, I feel, to not just you as a black woman, but to black women in general. Like, let's just be honest. And I feel like those things shouldn't be hard for a grown ass man to understand coming out of the house. So, has that apology been given, considering he's a grown ass man coming out of the house?
Well, yeah, okay, so I love a shade. I love a shade, too. So some might say, but I think we need to stand up and really saying this is a black man who said these things about me. And unfortunately, it is not uncommon that I can't paint all black men in this light. It's not fair. But it's not uncommon for black men to degrade black women when it gives them more access to power. I have a frustrating relationship with Monty right now because he is someone that I built a friendship with over the course of the game. And I was okay with deading the conflict that we had in the beginning of the game because as of the formation of the leftovers, almost through the end of the game, we built a really great friendship. So I believed. But now to understand that the comments were not, oh, I was lied to, so Taylor's live Sky got out of the game. It was, Taylor lied to me. She's not a good representation of black people. She's embarrassed with a black woman, however you phrased it. And giving someone else, a white man, white passing man, power over me, taking away my agency and using the authority of his blackness as a black man to do that over me. That is infuriating. The way that he gaslit me when we were in the bathtub over a discussion that involved his goddaughter and I don't know. Whose headphones were they? I'm just curious. Oh, okay. He used these moments to make it personal. And so the apology for where we are, the circumstances where we are, he hasn't owned up to the real pain that he caused me. He hasn't owned up to the way that he was intentionally trying to cause me pain. And I hate to say it out loud, but unfortunately, I don't think that there is space for us to have a friendship outside of this because I gave him the chances and the opportunity to be my friend. And at every turn, he fell back into degrading black women, degrading me, harming women when he gaslit me in that bathtub scene. There are so many moments where he had an opportunity to scoot his ego for the sake of a strong friendship, scoot his ego for the sake of being a better representation of what it means to be the type of person that he is. For all that he is, being black and Puerto Rican, he had a really beautiful opportunity to represent all of those things in a beautiful way. And unfortunately, I think you dropped the ball there. So that apology, full-fledged, considering everything that I now know about the game, it has not happened. And even when it happens, I just hope it happens because he's now understanding the pain that he caused. And I deserve the apology, but I will forgive, but I do not forget.
Period.
Okay. So for those who had not heard previously, that was the answer. You're welcome for the replay. Taylor's been on a mission since she was a young child to avenge Danielle Reyes. She has, and she mentioned her so many times in the feeds too. She can't hear apologies over the sounds of the money counting. Thanks for the chat. These words about staying, keeping, honoring this man are touching and a trigger for me. I'll watch the replay. You don't have to accept somebody's so people are acting like Taylor has to accept his terms for the apology. Why? I agree with her saying I'm the one who was wronged. So the apology is my terms, and it's not like she has 1,000 terms. The terms are just I didn't do anything to you. You did something to me. So because of that, I expect you to step up. I expect you to step up, my guy, and just be like, yo, this is what I did wrong. And I want to come to you as a man and make amends. She did speak on Terrence. I think that's the next part, as a matter of fact. I'm gonna play that. I'm gonna play that. I think that was the next part. Yes, Renee, I agree. She was most definitely feels betrayed the most by him, and it's unfortunate he hasn't owned up to that. And it's disappointing, to be honest. I agree. I agree. I like that Taylor made where she stood clear. Yeah, me too. The problem with Monty is that he wants to engage with her and bullheaded. That's that bullheaded thing about him. I mean, she's kind of bullheaded too, but she was not saying those things about him. So, misogyny is why people believe Taylor should accept it. Forced acceptance of apology or the way an apology has to. I agree. On a fundamental basis, she was the one who was wrong. He's, have any of you guys watched Ayanla Fix My Life? I want to ask this because I'm going to drop this analogy up in here. Have any of you guys watched the TV show Ayanla Fix My Life? Let me know. Never? I'm sure I know some of y'all in here have watched that, especially the females in here. I know that some of y'all have watched that. I know that's not a dig. I just know based on the things y'all tell me you watch that would be something on somebody's watch list. Okay, thank you. Charmed Life, Lin and Sheena. There was an episode. It was so long ago, but there was a man. How many kids did he have? I want to say it was like 16 kids or something like that. And it wasn't T.O., it wasn't one of the celebrities. It was just I think it was just like a common guy. Yeah, I think he had like 14, 16 kids. I don't know. She don't have a VP to run behind and hide from this. So let me just get into this. So on this episode, he had so many kids. Maybe it was 5 different baby moms or something like that, right? So Ayanla took him through this process of all the different things that he has to do to fix his life. One thing that he had to do, he actually got all the baby moms. First of all, I think he had to apologize to his mother, sister, something like that. Certain people, certain women in his life. There was a situation where she gave him 14 or 16, whatever it was, baby dolls, full-size baby dolls, and tried to put them all in his hands. And they were like falling out of his hands and dropping on the side. And she was like, "You can't drop that. That's your baby. They just dropped on their head." And he's like, "This is stupid. These are dolls." And she said, "If you can't even hold all these dolls on your lap, in your arms." I don't know if it's the same episode I'm talking about. It could be. It could be, though, because I haven't seen it in years. But the babies were dropping. She's like, "That's your baby." And he's like, "This is stupid. Like, these are dolls." And he was like, and she said, "If you can't even hold up these dolls, how do you think you could hold up and take care of every single one of these kids?" Right? Yeah, I'm going to skip these comments until I finish my point. I'm going to get back to them. Okay. So it's like, if you can't even hold the kids in your arms, how do you think you're going to take care of all of them? So he went through this big process of having to apologize to his mom, his sister, I believe, some other people, some other prominent women in his life. Then he had to apologize to the 5 or whatever baby moms that he had. Then he had to apologize to the kids. So she said to him, so he got all the kids in the room. Some of the kids were like, "I love you, Dad. I want to build this relationship with you. I forgive you. Everyone makes mistakes." And that was very nice. Some other of the kids were like, especially the males, they were like, "You ain't been there for me in my life before. And so I don't need you in my life now. For all I care, it's cool that you apologize, but you could keep your apology. I'm already such and such age, and you were never there for me. So you do what you do, and I do what I do." He's telling Ayana afterwards, He's telling Ayanla afterwards, see, you made me do all this and do this apology, and some of my kids didn't even forgive me. And she was like, they don't have to. Because think about what you did and the hurt that you caused to those kids. You can't force forgiveness. All you can do is open up the door to healing by fully and completely accepting the responsibility for what you have done to that person, putting it out there to them, and then allowing them the space to be able to accept or not accept. And that's all I'm saying. I'm connecting that to this situation for those who are following me. Now, I'm going to get to these comments. I'm not ignoring them. It's just that when I get on my points, I get distracted really easily. So I wanted to make sure that I finished up my point fully. Here we go. We are treating her as if something happened to her. It did. We're not talking about nobody here. Nobody, unless, guys, let me know if I missed something, but nobody here has even gotten to the entanglement portion of it yet. Have we? Because we're talking about the things that happened way before the entanglement. I don't know if somebody else said something that I didn't see, but I have not seen one person even get to that part. They're talking about how he treated her before. Okay, thank you. Monty was pretty nasty in his comments towards her as an individual and as a human being. He continued to be a bit whatever to her, even though. You've seen that episode, right, Danielle? Oh, I almost feel like I want to break down an Ayanla episode, even though I don't watch it anymore. I think a lot of y'all would like it. Taylor, of course, which production picked and manipulated a whole season. They made all those people bully her at the start of the season? Is that what you're trying to say? I don't get it. Like, I don't think that if Taylor knew she was signing on to be treated that way, that she would have wanted to come on the show. But that's just me personally. I know some people love clout, but that kind of clout, I don't think so. I don't think so. Like, how can you blame? This is literally victim shaming. Taylor consented to an intimate relationship, not emotional. It's two separate things. So her look back on the show. Thanks for those likes, by the way. There's 40 likes now. I'm trying to get up to 55. Her looking back on the show, I'm sure she is seeing stuff that she wasn't made of, and that's what she's saying. That's what she's saying, Van Hoot. Hey, Tanika. Nice to see you. I'm sorry I haven't been on much lately. I've been extremely. I hope you are all having a blessed day. You know what? The way that my day began was upsetting. Of course, as I posted for you guys that my page was rejected again. But I am not going to give up with that. I'm just going to delete the live content that I had on here, get rid of it, and I'm going to build myself back up because the people that I've had supporting me, I'm sorry I'm looking around for this remote. The people that I've had supporting me are still here.
I will forgive, but I do not forget.
And I'm not going
Period.
to I'm not going to let the community go because YouTube is trying to hate on me. I'll get there. I can build back up. What she went through was traumatic. And I remember they asked one of the interviews right after she got off the show, they asked her if she would do Big Brother All Stars, and she was like, did y'all see what I experienced? I would need a lot of time in therapy before I would even consider that. And I don't think that was just a statement. I think that she was being real, really real about that. What's confusing is that after the leftover storm, Monty started showing signs of crushing on Taylor. My neighbor growing up had weird videos on his computer. I'll keep it PG. His brother knew and others knew. We found out when we had an Ian party playing video games as kids growing up. He was caught by his parents. Wow. All right, I'm taking my work break, so I have probably another 20 minutes. It took me a lot to forgive him. Tell me about that process, or the like a Spark Notes version. Tell me like a Spark Notes version of that process. Let me see. There was another part that I wanted to play. I might go back to this part that I was on, but there's another part that I wanted to play. I think we were around 28 minutes, if I'm not mistaken. And let me, he had to apologize to my. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I assumed that it would be something like that, especially if it's somebody that you allowed back into your life after doing something disgusting or horrifying. Okay, I'm gonna play this next part really quick.
Pro experience in the game that help put things into perspective. There are threads of all the things labeled by name that people have said about off the feeds and the show, and that has been something to get through, but it's something that I need to know because I can't demand apologies from people or expect apologies from people if I don't know the extent that they went. Because watching the show, I'm chilling. I'm like, oh, that's kind of rough, but like, I'm good. No, I suppose doesn't.
So here's the thing. If y'all heard what she just said, she said that she had to listen and watch a bunch of stuff because she can't accept the apologies without knowing the extent of what they're apologizing for. In that same vein, I feel like you can't give the apologies if you're not watching and looking and seeing what you are apologizing for. So I would almost rather, instead of being like, I'm sorry for anything I may have done, but I didn't see anything, to hear him be like, at this time, for all the mental health stuff he said or whatever, I'm not going to view the footage, but if you will allow for me to have the time, I will talk to you about this in full at a later time once my mental health is in a space for me to connect with you about this issue, versus giving an apology for something you're saying you did not see or hear, because it's not really apologizing. I'm getting to your comment, Van Hoot. Even though others knew it wasn't the place and he pretended he didn't happen. Hey everyone. Hey Lisa. I've been listening for a while. Didn't want to interrupt another good convo. Basically, his parents thought I was not straight and corrupted the computer. Serious accusation. Wow. Hi Lisa. Sorry to hear that, Van Hoot. You must have felt so helpless. And he eventually apologized and I accepted, but that's what she said. She said if I get the apologies from here on out at this point, I listen, I forgive, but I don't forget. Daniel from the show, Nicole's bestie. There wasn't enough characters to type in Daniel.
Nasty stuff.
Yeah.
And I'm glad that the world saw it, and I'm glad that I have an opportunity to see it. But
yeah, Danielle, I know that we had somewhat of differing verbiage ourselves in this conversation, but I know that you and I are saying the same thing from plenty of comments that I've seen you make. Can I reach out to him and give him guidance? I can show you guys receipts that every platform every platform that he has available, I've tried. I feel like you only get these conversations via connections, cuz even y'all watched Kamisha Reviews interview Taylor like an hour ago. I'm not going to say like I personally know her, like we have our exchange numbers or whatever, but I will say we've been in communication many times.
it takes a lot to get to the space there. And it was harder when there were more people living in this house where I am right now to look at my phone, put it down, go down.
Oh, I'm not just going to leave that comment hanging because this is the internet. When Taylor was on that Twitter space that I put on my page for you guys the other day, she knew somebody who was hosting that space where she was getting that fan interview was like, shout out to Kamisha Reviews. She's a really good podcaster and she wants to get an interview with you. And Taylor was like, yes, I've heard about Kamisha reviews from certain people, and I'm having her get in contact with my PR person. I don't know none of these people. I don't know any of these people. I don't have any connections to any of these people. That's not to say that I will never get an interview, but it's to say that I had to locate some kind of connection that will help push me in. But I'm trying the best with what I know and who I know, which is nobody. And maybe you guys can help me by throwing me some tags sometimes. But thanks for that, Jazz and Jewel. It's on Taylor to decide, but they should make it right. I hope they do. I know some people don't care, but I would hate to see the black people. Terrence is another story. Leave him alone. But Monty, I really hope that he comes and sees the light and they're able to make amends. That's the issue, Miss Geechee, to me. I have yet to hear anything that sounds like he really believes he did anything wrong. He needs time. You and I discussed the importance of this off YouTube a number of times. Here's the thing. You're not lying. You and I had discussed the importance of this a number of times. Some people need time, some people don't have it. Some people need time, some people don't have it. It's just like saying maturity comes with age. No, it doesn't. I'm sure y'all know people who are half your age, who are extremely mature, and twice your age who are not. Not everybody self-reflects like that and takes a deep dive into themselves, introspective look, and see what they need to change about themselves. Not everybody. Some people go a whole lifetime and never do that. Never do that. Hope you had a good birthday. I had a great birthday, Ballistic. Good to see you. I don't think I've seen you on here in a while. Yeah, I saw that interview as well. I was watching that before I came here. She did say that, except for Paloma. But she also said that the public apologies at this point in time are she's gonna forgive but not forget. I have not watched the 6 hour deep dive. I don't. I'm probably gonna have to watch that in parts. Monty trash. I'm sorry. Terrence, I'm not forgiving him, but it's a whole other generation. Yeah, there's much more stuff that comes with it. Thanks, Danielle. If it can happen one day, it'll happen. I like to say whatever is meant for me, whatever is meant for me. You guys hear me talk about it. I put it in the air. I put it in the universe. I I comment on Twitter. I've sent DMs out. I've sent Twitter DMs out. I've done everything that I can do. And if it happens, it happens. If it doesn't, it doesn't. And if it doesn't, I feel like one day Monty might seem like a small fish to me. Marcella's also said on Watch What Happens Live that season 3 would have a POC winner if Danielle hadn't evicted him. I've heard that too. I've heard that too. They talk about that jury cast a lot. I don't know if Monty is trash, but he's immature and needs to grow. Will it be too late? Possibly if it's on him. Immaturity goes with age. Goes beyond age. Yeah, I agree. Danielle was a beast. She also, Taylor also shouted out Casey, who was also a beast. I'm not the biggest Casey fan, and that's because I started watching her on the challenge before I started watching her, before I went back to review her Big Brother season, but I respect her physical prowess for sure. I used to praise a child for wisdom every day as a kid. Good on you. Not everyone does that. Introspection is hard. I'm loving this conversation, guys. I'm loving this conversation. It's been a while. I'm loving this conversation. Introspection is hard. It takes strength to be willing to look within yourself and see how you messed up. And don't get me wrong. I've had days where I was not willing to do that. I've had days and times in my life where I was like, I'm not wrong here. I refuse. I am not wrong. And it took me some time. So, without getting into too many details, I could get into details because I know for sure that this person is not going to be watching this live. Like they're not on my YouTube page like that. But I'll just say I made a comment to one of my female friends. The comment wasn't anything like what she thought that it was. So when she came back and was really upset with me for the comment, I was like, I'm not wrong. It's like, where am I wrong here? And it took me like a good couple, 2 to 3 weeks before I was even willing to revisit it. And then I thought about it and eventually came to a point where I said, how she felt about the comment was more important than what I actually said. So that's the approach I took because I'm not one to apologize if I don't think I'm wrong. But I actually said to her as a beginning, I'm sorry that I was focused on the words instead of focusing on how it made you feel. So I'd like to just restart and say, I'm sorry for how my words made you feel. And as soon as you said that to me, I should have been apologetic and willing to work on that to assure you that I don't feel the way that you were thinking that I felt, rather than being like, I'm not wrong. Ego. To this day, I still don't think the comments were wrong, but I think my response was wrong. That's not to say that's the case of Monty, but I'm just a transparent person who, if I'm saying something about somebody, it's not just because I'm trying to just trash them. It's because I've been through some of these situations. It is hard to bury pride and ego enough to look within, whether small or large, but it is, and I mean to truly do that. Taylor said she hopes they apologize some. Yeah, that's actually what I just played, Ballistic. It's even harder for people in the yes. Being in the public sphere is a whole other dynamic. It was a lot easier for me to apologize for something that possibly just me and her knew about. Casey is a bit weird on the challenge. I'm just checking the time because I have to go pretty soon. Me? My page is not down. What I was saying is that I got rejected for monetization for the second time. So what I'm gonna have to do is remove all my Big Brother Live footages because they say the reason my page is rejected is because of reused content. So that's the whole reason why even now I'm playing the sound, but I'm not showing the video before they say that this thing is copyrighted. I'm trying to see the last comment that I read here because there's a lot of comments in here. Even the fact that you're able to look back and say, oh, maybe I needed to think back on XYZ. What people say isn't it? Yeah, Van Hoot. And it's like, I'll tell you, after I made the comment and after she made the suggestion of like what she thought it was, my response was kind of like, ha, what are you talking about? Like that was kind of my response. So that compounded the issue to be like, that's ridiculous for you to think that it could be that. Taylor said she was mad. BB didn't show all the Kyle week. Yeah. I was mad too. We were only seeing bits and pieces of this thing. I think I might have just deleted that live, but I was on a live that same night and they were cutting this thing so much. Again, not a oh, Paloma and Indy are starting a oh no. Paloma and Indy are starting a mental health podcast. It's not that I would never support Paloma, but I would have to hear a retraction of all the things that Paloma was saying after getting out of the house before I would have any kind of interest in watching that. Please. I'm going to have to learn about Twitch. Van Hoot. What is RHAP? I don't know what that is. I know they need to go on a Yanla Fix My Life or some kind of thing where they get help before they are trying to give mental health advice. I would never try to get no mental health advice from Paloma and Indy. The heck? Are they nah. Are they kidding me with that? Come on. Come on now. Come on now. Who would want to get mental health advice from them? Blind leading the blind. I thought Indy was gonna interview. They're live on Insta right now. What's happening with their Insta? I can't see that via. I just think of Bootsy memes reading this. Thanks for chatting. Yeah, thank you guys for showing up. Thank you guys. Oh, I'm stupid. I know Rob has a. I mean, I know of Rob has a podcast. I've watched it. That's what I'm trying to say. Sometimes I'm not with the abbreviations. That is on me. Sometimes I'm not with the abbreviations. How come I cannot get back to my video that I was watching? Anyways, I guess there was not too much more for it than that. Hey, Sapphire. I know, like, she needs to. Is this going to be in Portuguese or is this going to be in English? Yeah, but I don't want to hear her admitting about a kiss. I know she has talked about her mental health issues. I want to hear her admitting about what she did in the house. Oh, you're making me want to hop on that Instagram, Charmed Life. Comments are off on the live. Oh, of course. Other podcasts bring up previous show content. So, oh, you mean like they go back through an old season? I actually still had to watch the Survivor episode and do a Survivor recap for this Wednesday's episode. And was there another show? No, I think that's the only one. And also I was gonna keep going with season 6 of Big Brother. Yeah. And the challenge is coming up next week for anyone who watches that. I'm gonna be live watching it with your boy Devin and some other people. That's the only one they announced on the flyer. I assume the ones that are kind of here in New York, Marie, I think Johnny Bananas. Who have I seen in New York before? Yeah, they're having a challenge watch party. So I'm going to try to use that for some content. And they can't say that it's reused content if I'm live. But you know what I have to be careful of? The show will be on the TV. So I'm not going to show the show. I'm just going to try to get the challengers in the video with me talking. Because I've heard now, I thought that at first you could just talk through the videos, but some YouTube videos that I watched today say that they have to actually constantly see your face and your speaking before it's not considered reused content. We have ABQ International Hot Air Balloon. Where's that at? Ballistic. I'm going to be on here another 12 minutes. My time counter here says 108, 1 hour, 8 minutes. But I appreciate all Albuquerque, New Mexico. I have a friend that moved there earlier this year, I think. Yeah. But anyways, I appreciate all 54 of you that jumped on here. This is a great conversation.
Downstairs and see that person or 3 of those people having mimosas at the counter. It was very difficult.
Yeah.
I want to tell them why I was upset because.
Oh, sorry. So for this part, because it looked like it skipped ahead a little bit, Taylor was saying that she has viewed and watched some of the footage of what was said about her on the show, but she is still in the house with all the house guests, right? So she said it makes her feel awkward for her to watch the stuff and see what they said and then just go downstairs and be hanging out with those people in the house. And if y'all are like, I'm a like kind of a vibes person in a way, so it's just like if something is not sitting right in my spirit, it's hard for me to be around that person. So I feel her there. You are awesome. I've learned so much and feel heard on your channel. Thank you so much, Jazz and Jewel. It's awesome. It's our annual 50th. It's our 50th annual this year, but it's been raining like crazy. A week and a half had to shut down. Yeah, they are. Taylor, Monty, Turner. Yeah. Pooch just went home. Okay. I got to see Pooch in Staten Island. Pooch would probably be the easiest person for me to get an interview from. I just feel I wouldn't have too much to be around. I mean, I wouldn't have too much to say to him, but because he wasn't around that long, but he's in my area. He's in Staten. You cruise down the stairs and everyone is, yeah, I know. That's the whole thing. They're like, Tay, I love you. And then you're probably wondering too, are they around me because they really forgive me and accept me now? Or is it because I got the bag and they know that being around me is going to help for their business purposes? That's a real thing. He was apologetic. He didn't do too much, but he was apologetic for his part. Tough play to get. Indy practically called her evil. I wonder if Alyssa apologized. I don't think so. If she did, she has a lot to apologize for. I can see Pooch starring. I could see that too, or being on like, what is that show? That show that I don't like. X on the Beach, is that what it's called? No, maybe it's not X on the Beach. Love Island. The worst show on. I'm sorry, I don't want to trigger anybody. uh, the apologies. That's what I'm saying. Some apologies, guys. Some apologies are time sensitive. Y'all have to have had that experience. Cause I know I had a situation with someone that was really light. And I was expecting this apology to come a long time ago. It came 2 years down the road. And I was like, this was light at the time when it happened, but it's heavy now because it took you so long. Yes, man, Hoot, she did. Did it? It got canceled in the US? Again, I know I've learned from having a YouTube page that some people have deep love for certain shows that I don't care for. So I will just say Love Island being canceled doesn't make a big difference for me. And that's the best way that I can say it. Taylor said Alyssa. It's not even just what she said. It's that when she was in the house, she said she wasn't involved in any of those conversations. I don't like that. I know you could say she's playing a game, but the conversations that Taylor was referring to were. I tried to watch Love Island, Sarah. I tried. I watched part of an episode season where part of an episode of the season where Cash and Cinco were on it. And I got through like 50% of the episode and I'm like, this is just too stupid and shallow for me. So I'm going to pass on Love Island. I only even tried to watch it because I was watching Challenge USA and there was all these Love Island people on there. So I'm like, let me try to watch it to get some back storylines. And then I'm like, yeah, you know what? It's all good. I will just act like they just dropped onto the earth right now for the Challenge USA and take them at face value from here on out. How about that? The English version is exactly the same. Oh boy. Not my cup of tea then. No pun intended. There are ways to defend your game without compromising your game. Yeah. I've done that before and said, look, I don't want to say anything. Yes. 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 I've done that too. Like the apology that I gave in the example that I'm giving you guys was not actually an apology for the comment. I doubt that that person is looking at this, but I am still always leery of giving specific examples. But to be as non-specific as possible, I gave a response about something I saw, and the response it was an online DM response, right? And the way that she took it had nothing to do with what I was actually talking about. And I explained that. I'm like, it's not even anything close to what you think that it is. And she just responded by just giving me the cold shoulder for weeks. And then I was like, you know what? I don't want to lose this person in my life. They're more important than this misunderstanding, even though I think that they're wrong, at least in terms of what they thought of the statement, even after my explanation. So I'm going to go for I apologize for how the statement made you feel and how I did not acknowledge your feelings. I did not think that that was going to go over well, but it did. Because once I said that, I basically repeated my same explanation that I gave 2 to 3 weeks ago, and it was well received. So I was like, a lot of things can be resolved when you let go of your pride. I didn't see what Coffee Boy said. We have to collab in some. Yeah, I think I read that comment already. For sure, Van Hoot. I stopped looking at Spoiler Girl's Twitter after a while. That whole, not saying that what she said didn't happen, but I didn't see proof. So the cash she dropped made little sense, given how Taylor was clear she wouldn't be back for a few years. When I apologize, I apologize, and stand there and take what's coming with my mouth shut. It sucks. It depends though, Rich. What I'm trying to say in my example is a case where you are not necessarily in the wrong for the incident, but the person felt a way based on their interpretation of what was said or done. Not like a clear cut thing, something where you said something and it meant one thing, they took it as another. And then your apology is either you have a choice to either be like, I know what I said and I know what I meant, or to find a way to tell them that you're sorry for the aftermath without necessarily apologizing for the statement. Or you could just apologize for everything. That's just not me. I can't do it if it's not true to me. I'll tell you another story later. Yeah, that's a damn problem. I don't believe her just sharing it. It's just, yeah, they post a lot of fan wish lists. I apologize only when I mean it. All right, y'all. I got to get back to work. Thank y'all for your support, for jumping on here, for doing this somewhat of a deep dive into this ongoing Taylor situation. And I've enjoyed this discussion. You guys are awesome. You know, as soon as topics come back up, and they do all the time, every day, I am going to be back. Y'all have a great day too. Thank you, Ballistic, Coffee Boy, Charmed Life, Van Hoot, Unique. I'm just leaving. I'm sorry, Unique. But we were talking about practice. That's an Allen Iverson reference if anyone doesn't know. We were talking about Taylor saying that she's basically not trying to be friends with Monty anymore due to the time passing for him to give that true apology. Have a blessed day, Lin Lin. All right, y'all. See you later. pride will get you. Pride comes before a fall. Yes.